So every business deploying AI eventually hits the exact same wall. How do you give it a unique, on-brand identity without it totally losing its mind and hallucinating? You know the drill. You tell an LLM to be creative or act like a quirky marketer, and next thing you know, it's inventing product features out of thin air or handing out massive discounts you never actually authorized. It's a nightmare. So today, in this explainer, we're diving deep into exactly how identity settings actually work, specifically looking at how a system called Caretta AI solves this by wrapping an unbreakable security core inside a custom personality layer. Here is the layered architecture we're going to break down today. 1. The base Caretta Persona. 2. Unbreakable red line rules. 3. Choosing name and soul. 4. Setting voice and tone. 5. Teaching brand lexicon. And 6. Assembling the final prompt. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so this is the core puzzle, right? How do you give an AI a soul without losing control? We all know that generic, off-the-shelf LLMs are incredibly risky for businesses. If you just dump a massive prompt full of marketing buzzwords and quirky persona traits into a model, those vital security instructions almost always get lost in the noise. Caretta AI tackles this by drawing a hard, strict line between the creative personality and the security core. It uses a heavily structured, layered architecture where the absolute rules of truth and security completely bracket the creative instructions.
Section 1. The base Caretta Persona, the unconfigured core.
Before you even touch a single setting, out of the box, the AI defaults to this highly tested baseline. It's literally named Caretta, inspired by the calm, patient, and dependable loggerhead sea turtle. In this baseline state, it's programmed to speak naturally and warmly, completely avoiding those robotic canned openers. The system uses this exact baseline because it is incredibly safe and entirely predictable. Think of it as the perfect, secure blank canvas that you'll eventually paint your specific brand identity onto.
Section 2. Unbreakable red line rules, the immune system.
Think of these rules as the AI's immune system. They are absolute, unbreakable guardrails that no personality setting can ever override. First up, model identity. The AI will absolutely never name third-party vendors like OpenAI or Google. It fiercely protects the illusion of your brand. Second, security. It refuses any jailbreaks, developer modes, or weird roleplay requests. Third is language discipline, which is actually its highest priority. The AI detects the user's language and replies entirely in that language, overriding any default settings. And finally, the source contract. The AI must only answer using facts from the business's specific site. No inventing, period.
I absolutely love this system philosophy because it captures the entire vibe perfectly. Calibrated uncertainty always beats confident error. If a user asks for a site fact that is simply missing from the knowledge base, the AI is explicitly instructed not to guess. Don't make it up. Instead, it prepends a special escalate sentinel and states in one honest, clear sentence that it cannot answer, smoothly routing the user to a human. This outright refusal to fabricate is literally the most important trust property of the entire architecture.
Section 3. Choosing name and soul, customizing identity.
Now that our core is fully locked down and secure, how do we actually layer on that custom brand? Contrast these two states. On one side, you have the default sea turtle. Calm, predictable, but generic. On the other side, you have a custom persona. Let's call her Aria from Acme, configured as a witty, fast-paced concierge. The system is built to seamlessly override that original origin story. The turtle vanishes completely, replaced by a bespoke character that perfectly aligns with your brand's vibe. To pull this off, you configure some very exact parameters in the dashboard. Your custom name is strictly capped at 60 characters, and the personality note, what we like to call the soul of the AI, is capped at 300 characters. When you set these, the system injects a hard rule that explicitly suppresses the sea turtle story. It literally tells the AI, hey, wherever Caretta appears in your core rules, it actually means you. Say your new name instead. It also tells the AI to only introduce itself by name in the very first greeting. Because let's be honest, nobody wants an assistant that repeats its name in every single message like a broken robot.
Section 4. Setting voice and tone, mechanical limits. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Notice how Caretta actually enforces style mechanically. Tone isn't just a polite suggestion to the model, it is enforced through strict, hard token ceilings. Take the concise preset, for example. It's not just asked to be brief, its output is literally capped at 220 tokens. This is huge because it means a naturally verbose underlying model simply cannot blow past a concise request to write massive paragraphs of text. Meanwhile, more expressive tones like warm or detailed are handed a much higher token budget so they can naturally finish their thoughts. It's a brilliant way to lock down the AI's pacing. But you might be wondering, what if a malicious user tries to trick the AI by smuggling a prompt injection through the style settings? Well, the system anticipates that. It injects this very specific guardrail directly after the tone block. The AI is explicitly warned that accuracy, source rules, and its primary role will always win out over any stylistic flair. Safety first, personality second.
Section 5, Teaching Brand Lexicon, the AI Skin and Clothes.
So, this is how we teach the AI the unique jargon of your brand, its skin and clothes, if you will. The system extracts and allows up to 15 key terms, 6 value propositions, and 6 customer pains directly from your content. The AI uses this bespoke lexicon to sound exactly like you. Instead of falling back on boring, generic marketing cliches, it maps real customer pains to the actual value you provide. So if a user is frustrated with slow shipping, the AI doesn't just say, "We are fast." It uses the exact, specific language your brand uses to describe its lightning-fast logistics.
But even with all this marketing flair, we have to remember this foundational rule. Facts don't change, only the framing does. The brand lexicon adds a beautiful layer of tailored vocabulary, but the underlying facts remain absolutely locked down by those red lines we talked about earlier. The AI is strictly forbidden from inventing a new value proposition or making up a feature just to sound more persuasive to the customer.
Section 6, Assembling the Final Prompt, Layer by Layer Assembly.
Let's look at how the engine builds the final instructions before it sends a single word to the LLM. This sequence right here is an absolute masterclass in AI control. It builds the prompt in a highly deliberate concatenation order. First, it hits it with strict sector locks, so the AI knows its topic boundary. Then, a language primacy lock. Next is the tone block. Then, right smack in the middle, it places the base persona and those unbreakable red lines. Only after all that heavy security is in place does it inject the custom identity block. It safely wraps your brand's creative and potentially erratic personality inside an impenetrable shell of security rules.
And the prompt assembly doesn't even end there. We all know that large language models can suffer from a sort of mid-prompt amnesia, right? They forget early rules by the time they reach the end of a long instruction set. To fix this, Caretta places recency locks at the very tail end of the prompt. It reinforces those strict length limits, it explicitly bans annoying, repetitive, robotic openers like "great question," and crucially, it reasserts the user's detected language right at the finish line. This ensures that a custom personality written in English doesn't accidentally force a Turkish user to read an English reply.
So here is the ultimate takeaway from today's explainer. Identity settings change how the AI speaks, but never ever what is true. By treating the AI's architecture as a series of strictly isolated layers, you can give it a highly engaging, totally brand-specific voice without compromising on the foundational rules of truth, safety, and security.
That wraps up our deep dive into identity settings. By meticulously separating the creative soul from the security core, the possibilities really are endless. You're no longer choosing between safety and personality, you get both. So what persona will you build on top of an unbreakable foundation? Thanks for learning with us today, and we'll see you on the next one.